What's good, everybody? My name is Malachi Jones. Welcome back to the Powered by Christ podcast. I'm excited to present today's video. In today's podcast, the topic is going to be about peer pressure. Who am I here with today?
Jakari Jackson.
Yes, sir. And so for this video right here, we each wrote down three specific verses that related to the topic. And without further ado, we're going to jump right into it and we're going to get started. Okay, so the first verse that I put down was Proverbs 13:20. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. So I'm gonna just explain what that verse means to me, and I could just tune in and hear me out and listen to what I gotta say. So what I feel like that means to me, whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. I feel like that means we have to be mindful of who we walk with. If we're heavily peer pressured and we're heavily influenced, then we will follow the wrong things. We will go in the wrong direction. We will take the wrong path. We will take path that leads to darkness and destruction. But on the other hand, on the opposite hand, you know what I'm saying, if we walk with the wise, then we will become wise. We will become like who we hang with. All about qualities and characteristics and traits that rub off on us of who we hang with. So I feel like that's very important to keep in mind. But if we're always hanging around fools, likewise, we're gonna start to have the traits of fools that are gonna rub off on us, and we're gonna start to become like them. That's one verse that I feel that heavily relates to peer pressure. Gotta say, Kari.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good verse right there. It really talks about it and how it contributes to you making bad decisions.
You got like a certain verse that relates to peer pressure as well? Feel free to use your phone if you want to, bro. So we each got 3 different verses on the topic of peer pressure.
I got one. Proverbs 4:14. Warns against getting caught in the way of evil doors. This one basically talks about peer pressure and how it can lead to ungodly actions or sinning.
Like what I was saying earlier, you think it means like taking the detour to darkness and stuff like that?
Yeah.
How do you feel like who we hang around can influence us to take the detour to darkness?
I feel like I agree with that because you are who you hang around. Like the people you hang around, you do things that they do. Whatever they do, contribute with that. I feel like
definitely start to rub off. Next verse, Romans 12:2. This is one of my favorite verses in Romans. My favorite verses in general. Romans 12:2. This is what it says: "Not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, good and accurate and perfect." Y'all are probably confused because the version I'm reading from is a little bit choppy, but the version I'm reading from right here is ESV version. I don't usually read from version like that. I usually read from like NLT and the TBT. Anyways, I'm gonna just explain what this verse means to me. Not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. I'll just read from a clear version, and I already have it in the back of my mind. It's the same verse, it's just a clear version. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you by changing the way you think. I feel like this means don't copy what everybody else is doing. Go along with the crowd whenever you feel peer pressure. Follow your heart's desires, because the word also never says to follow your heart's desires. The heart is deceitful above all things. So that's one thing that we can't be doing. But we should never follow the behaviors and patterns and customs of this world, because the world always twist holy things and make them sinful. That's what the world is known for. The world is known for being contrary to God. The world is known for, being opposite of God. The world is known for doing things that the way God does not want them to be done. Y'all get what I'm saying? So I feel like with God on our side, he'll change the way we think so that we no longer fall for the distractions, the temptations of peer pressure that may try to pull us and lead us in the direction of sin. Say God is this way, the world is going to take us and throw us this way because it's opposite of God. All right, you got anything to say on that?
That's a good way to talk about it. I don't really have much to say about that one.
Got any other verses?
Corinthians 10:13. No temptation has overtaken you except such as is common to man, but God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able. Like this talks about like God being by your side and like him not putting you in like certain situations that's very bad or like that you can't handle.
How you think that kind of ties into peer pressure though? Like that specific verse?
Like it ties into peer pressure. I'm not being tempted beyond the things you want to do or like.
Oh, that one relates to peer pressure. Maybe it relates to peer pressure because showing that it should be God pressured instead of peer pressure. We should have the pressure of God on us instead of people. Allow God to push us in his direction instead of people to push us in their direction.
That makes sense. That's the best way to do it. God's way.
I'm gonna read the last verse that I put. This verse right here is probably my favorite one that relates to the topic peer pressure. I'm gonna explain why right after I read it to y'all. Okay, so the verse that I put, Matthew 19:26. What will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and soul? What shall a man give in return for his soul? I'm gonna explain exactly why I put this verse in just a second. Okay, so why I put this verse on here for what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Because you see so many famous rappers, you see so many famous artists, you see so many famous people, so many famous public figures, so many famous influencers who sold their soul to get where they are. Obviously not saying the whole industry, or I'm obviously not saying that the whole music world did that, but I'm saying that a lot of people don't know God or don't love God, sold their soul to get where they are, to get in a high position. And I feel like that kind of goes along with peer pressure, because if you don't know God, if you don't have a strong relationship with God, and you're going to be peer pressured to put yourself out there in situations that will take you far in life, but the cost is your soul. It'll take you to a far place in life. Like, it might sound appealing. Oh, this opportunity might bless your life and change your life forever and take you where you want to be. But in the end, it's not really blessing you because you're paying with your soul. You got anything to say on that, Car?
Yeah, I agree, because you're basically saying like it's beneficial for the time now, but like in the future, it's not going to be more beneficial. It's going to be like bad. You're going to think about it in the future and be like, why did I do this? Like, it's not good for me now. It was good for that time, but not now looking at it.
Like, you're peer pressured to sell your soul to the world, but why wouldn't you be peer pressured to give your soul to God? Give your soul to your creator. Let your creator use your soul so that it can be an example for his glory. There's like absolutely no situation that you should put yourself in, or that we should put ourselves in as humans, where we give our souls away to the world. We get nothing but fame and likes, popularity and notoriety in return. If you have to pay with your soul, then that's already enough. And I feel like that's the strongest form of peer pressure, is putting yourself out there where you don't even have yourself anymore. The world has yourself. You don't even have yourself. At that point, you don't even know yourself because you abandoned God. You got anything to add to that, or any opinions on that?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like, selling your soul, like, that does. Like, with people that do that, they really don't see themselves anymore. Like, they really can't, like, they don't know what they want. Them doing that, they kind of lose themselves on the way of doing it.
Right.
So it's like, I just did this for no reason. Like, nothing beneficial about it.
Exactly. And at the end of it, you look at it like, what did I just do? You know what I'm saying? Like, also, like, what first comes to mind, like, whenever you think of peer pressure? Is it like a situation you put yourself in, or just like a thought? Or
towards the situation you put yourself in, that could be good, but more so bad.
You have any like personal experiences from peer pressure?
I really know, because I'm good with like knowing what to do. Like, I know what situations are good and bad, so I know how to like get out of it.
Like discernment?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do discernment in another podcast. Y'all stay tuned for that. But also, do you think peer pressure is stronger high school or college?
I feel like it's more so in college, because you have more freedom. You having friends, you want to do something good or bad, or something bad.
Right.
You don't have your parents by you or near you, but like you could just do it with no consequence. Really, I think it's more towards college that is more bad.
I definitely think peer pressure is heavier in college than it is in high school, because yeah, you have people in high school telling you, you know, what to do, pulling you this direction, pulling you that direction and stuff. But in high school, you have your parents to like kind of step in and play a role. Hey, you shouldn't do that because that's my child, you know. Like, when you get to college, it's a whole different ball game. Peer pressure is different, because it's really what you choose to do with the peer pressure, how you go about the peer pressure. Either give into the peer pressure, or you can either say no to the peer pressure. That's where discernment kicks in. That's where relationship with God kicks in, because if you don't have a firm relationship with God, then you're going to give into the peer pressure. You're going to say yes to the peer pressure. You're going to be pulled by the peer pressure.
And you're older too, like, so like,
yeah,
should know what's right from wrong anyway. But
people still make foolish choices even at an older age, but some people just play around with their future. Some people don't take their future serious, but everybody different though, so like that's true too. So there's another verse. I think I had one more verse in mind that relates to peer pressure, and I think 1 Corinthians. I don't have it written down. I think it was in 1 Corinthians. I think 1 Corinthians 16:33. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm gonna put it like right here. I think the verse was 1 Corinthians 16:33. Okay, no, it was 1 Corinthians 15:33. It says, bad company corrupts good morals. Now, even though that's a simple verse, it still goes a long way, because you're always around bad company, and you know you have good morals before you even hung out with them. your morals are going to get twisted. Your morals might even get thrown down the drain. You chose to put yourself around people who don't have any. So I feel like if you're always hanging around bad people, the peer pressure is definitely going to be felt. The peer pressure is definitely going to be, you know what I'm saying, heavy, because you're always hanging around people who are opposing what God wants, people who are opposing the plans God has for you, people who are opposing God's love, people who are opposing the good. I feel like if you have good morals, you should never even let it come close to put yourself in a situation where you're surrounded around bad people. All right, you got anything to add on to that? Any thoughts?
You're around bad people, and the peer pressure is definitely felt. Definitely feel it more in your heart, because you know it's bad, but you're still choosing to do it. So it's like you're putting more bad stuff on you. You're making your decision making worse doing that.
Yeah, I feel like that too. The people we hang around can either be beneficial to us or harm us. It's always one of the two. There's no in between. So every situation, whenever you think you're about to give in to peer pressure, whenever a peer pressure moment appears in your life, think about, is this person or this group of people benefiting my life, or is this person or is this group of people harming my life? They're one of the two every single time. Once you have that piece of thought in the back of your mind, you should go into every situation of peer pressure or every peer pressure moment that life throws at you, that thought in the back of your mind. And if you do, it helped you so much. You got any more verses, Car, or is that all for your verses?
I got one more.
This right here gonna be the last verse.
This is James 1:12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. I feel like this talks about being by your side, like during the peer pressure, and how like he can help you with like overcoming it, or like trying to make a change for it, trying to boosting your decision making, making it better. I feel like.
Are you saying like God kind of giving us the strength, like not to give in to the peer pressure?
Yeah, like give you the strength to like know what's right and wrong, making sure like do the right things before you actually do something dumb.
I feel like peer pressure is like such a simple topic that doesn't get enough recognition, but it's so important though. Like not as much people talk about peer pressure as I think they should talk about it, you know?
I agree. Even though it causes lots of bad things to happen, like a lot of things that happen on the news with teenagers, out of the cause is from peer pressure.
Do you think anything is like far worse than peer pressure? Like what can you think of that's something worse than peer pressure?
I don't really think it's nothing much worse.
I definitely feel like there are things worse than peer pressure, but I don't feel like there's things that are like severely worse than peer pressure, you know?
And also it depends on who you're around.
Exactly. But I feel like if our relationship with God is strong and our relationship with God is as strong that we say it is, I feel like we should be able to discern right from wrong. We should be able to discern the decision that we're making in that moment, whenever we're being pulled into peer pressure, pleases God. If it doesn't please God, then you already know what the answer to your decision should be. That's all I really got to say on that. So
yeah, I feel you.
But that's all I got to say for this video right here. This is the Powered by Christ podcast. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all follow me on my Instagram at MalWorldWide with 2 E's. Make sure y'all follow him on Instagram at
OMG Card.
Make sure y'all follow my TikTok too. My TikTok gonna be in the bio of the YouTube video and in the comment section. Make sure y'all stay tuned for all the next podcasts. My podcasts always go on 4 different platforms. They go on YouTube, they go on Spotify Podcasts, they go on Apple Podcasts, and they go on Buzzsprout. So make sure y'all stay tuned for every single podcast drop. It's a new podcast every single week. This topic right here was on peer pressure. Hope y'all enjoyed it. If y'all got any thoughts, comments, or concerns, or any more topic ideas, y'all make sure to let me know. That's all I gotta say for this video. Y'all stay tuned for the next one. Peace out. Lord, you been so good, that's all I can't deny. When I feel misunderstood, you stay right by my side. Stay heavy, yeah, cause ain't no H-E double hockey stick. I'm stepping, yeah, even though the road got rocky, queen. I know I'm rare, but I can never get too cocky, queen. Walking with God ain't fair sometimes, but I haven't been called a queen. They say Malachi, you weird sometimes, but I know that I'm always. They say that I disappear sometimes, I tell them I'm a scholar. They should love